Nick, it is almost dinner time after Raw here in the United States, and we're going to hopefully not have a DoorDash interruption from you as we talk Raw here. We have a retirement match set up for Saturday night's main event, one of the top stories coming out of this show. AJ Styles, with approval and enthusiastic endorsement, apparently, of his wife, is going to, in order to get back at Gunther, put his entire career on the line at the Royal Rumble. What do you think about the follow-up to that angle, and does it make Styles look rational to put his career? I know it's his last year, but do you really want to end it put it at risk of ending it without fanfare, given all the ways wrestling matches can end?
I thought it was interesting. I actually really liked that they kind of pulled the trigger on it because it was surprising. The thing about the whole Gunther post John Cena retirement storyline is you kind of wondered how labored it was going to be until it reached its next pinnacle. And the fact that we're accelerating it so quickly, not necessarily to AJ's for sure retirement, but getting it to a next area where there's implications, where there's a real stake in the match without a title necessarily being at stake. I think it's really it's interesting. It has me more intrigued than ever than I really thought I would be 3 hours ago, headed into a Gunther Royal Rumble showing. And I think in that instance, I think it's a good thing. In my head, when they first started saying, I said, oh, they won't do that. They won't start to do that. And then, as the show goes on, you start going through the different scenarios, going, well, it's the 10-year anniversary, right, of AJ Styles making his debut in WWE. Maybe, or would AJ maybe want to use that as the bookend of his career? I suddenly got more intrigued than I thought I would be, and I was excited, kind of more than I thought I would be. Last week's show didn't do anything to get me more excited for the quality of match that those two can put on. It was fine, but I think getting it now to where there's the retirement possibility, it has me more excited from a storyline perspective because that at this point needs to carry it for me.
Gunther's been just delightful in this. He's been a great heel, so cocky until he gets his pride is on the line and questioned with the you tapped out chance. His leaving the ring smugly and then being drawn back in, I think it's just a good technique we've seen in pro wrestling for so long. The heel acts cocky until you just know how you can push his buttons, and Styles did that effectively, and that was good storytelling there. The idea that Styles already declared this will be his last year obviously makes it more believable he'd put his career on the line, especially as they noted on his 10-year anniversary of his debut in WWE in the Royal Rumble. Nick, what happens? I mean, Styles isn't going to lose here, but, well, I shouldn't rule that out. But I don't think Styles is going to lose. I don't think it's the end at the Rumble. If it was, would you think it was a good way to end Styles' in-ring career, to lose to Gunther in a match that he demanded? And volunteered to put that stip up, or what other story do they tell? Because I assume Gunther's the one who's going to end Styles' career. I just didn't expect it to be on our clock already.
Well, I think it works either way for me, quite frankly. Like I said, if Gunther does win, I think it works in that it's a kind of a storybook ending for AJ Styles to be a full 10-year arc, the beginning and end happening at the Royal Rumble with him being in the WWE. I don't believe it's going to happen, and I think it doesn't have to be that Gunther is successful every time he goes for the career of somebody. And I think actually that makes him hungrier. It makes him more vicious, that if he doesn't get it done, he keeps going back for it until he gets it. I think that works just as fine to make his character have an added bite to him. It would kind of be disingenuous that suddenly, like, the guy who he has been beaten before, we know that suddenly he is undefeatable. I think that was always going to be kind of something that people kind of looked at and was like, that just seems a little odd to me. I think that this continues to go out of the comedy routine to say, if he is, in this case, humiliated out of the ability to retire somebody, that he can come back more and more vicious, more and more hungry to be able to get that new gemstone in the, what is it? I've never seen those Avengers movies, but people keep posting the idea of him with the stones. in his hand. I think it works. It works if he does not win. Honestly, I would have him win. I really would. There was something about seeing AJ in the ring today. I mean, listen, we're not looking at a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds in the ring on Raw today. We're looking at 40 and 50-year-olds, quite frankly. And there is something about turning the page on some of these careers. And I don't know. Is it possible? Wait, it's possible. It's possible. This is the end of AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it is possible. Sadler version 3 in the chat says, I feel like AJ wins and maybe they do a part 3 at WrestleMania, and that's where Gunther retires him. There's some speculation, as Chris 99 if he says that there's been a rumor of a Brock Gunther match at WrestleMania. You also can have Styles beat Gunther or whatever. You know, Styles extends his career and they just revisit it later in the year. I mean, this could be on Saturday Night's Main Event in December 2026 when it finally comes to a conclusion, Nick. I mean, if Styles wants to have a full year kind of retirement tour, so to speak, not to the John Cena extent, but, you know, where people go, this might be my last chance to see him, and he gets in a couple last feuds. But if his body's breaking down or he's just eager or, you know, whatever, I mean, there could be other circumstances where it's like, all right, I'm good. But losing in Saudi Arabia would be a weird thing. Jarrell Freeman in the chat says if AJ's career ends in Saudi, that would be something. GWF ESPN Nick says AJ to me has been dreadfully dull since he put on the bulk.
I don't disagree with that, actually. Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. And unlike John Cena, I don't know that there's this, you know, vast list of people that AJ hasn't wrestled. AJ has been wrestling. AJ doesn't. There's not a whole lot unsaid when it comes to AJ Styles. There's not a whole lot of storylines to tell. You know, I think that there is potentially a story where AJ gets through Gunther this time and then gets it to a point where AJ is challenged to again put his career on the line as long as Gunther does the same, and then Gunther is then challenged to put his career on the line jointly. I don't know, but does that make it any more interesting, or does he just put out AJ once and for all? I got to tell you, that backstage segment with AJ talking to Adam Pearce at the end, that looked like a guy kind of ready to retire to me. I mean, he really did. Didn't look like someone who was going to be wrestling for 5 more years.
In what sense? They meant to convey that, or you just are inferring it from the?
I don't know. There wasn't a whole from the body language, from the performance. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of spark to it, Wade. I mean, he looked a little tired, quite frankly.
It's tough to be phenomenal and the best of your era in a certain style, which was a combo X Division strong style. I mean, he was always like. He was flashy, but he never looked like he was just flashy. Like, he looked tough. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that made him a viable early TNA world champion. And to have it slow down, I mean, you know, Rey Mysterio's done a really effective job because of his charisma, with all his injuries and all the wear and tear on his body over, you know, 4 decades, 4+ decades. He adjusted his style. You know, I mean, he doesn't do some of the moves he used to do. He plays it safer. Mm-hmm. But for Styles, I don't know if he, you know, wants to do that. Plus, he's made some really good money over these last 10 years.
Yeah, listen, I think that it depends on. I mean, I think WWE is going to give him as much of a leash as he would like, in terms of how much time he would like throughout this year to continue performing. To me, it's to what degree? How many more matches do you want? How much more story is there to tell? You know, one of the things that I've been seeing, I don't know if you've been looking out on some of the social pages of, there's been a recent thread of, isn't it ironic that with AJ's career winding down, you look back at his WrestleMania matches, and his best WrestleMania match has been against Shane McMahon. Well, the ... to that is because he hasn't had a great WrestleMania match. AJ has not. Yeah. I think that there is still probably things he wants to achieve, work he wants to do, but again, with who is out there that he would want to do it with? You would think Gunther would be the one. He's had the matches with the Finn Balor's. He has had the matches with everybody, quite frankly. There's no great main event storyline that I think he's going to have out there. I don't think they're going to put him in a world championship long extended program at this point in his career. It kind of is what it is when it comes to AJ Styles.
Chris 99 if he says if apparently the Royal Rumble will be his 950th WWE match, more than TNA and New Japan added together. There's a density of schedule that certainly plays into that. But
let me tell you what I left today's show feeling like. I felt like it's entirely possible at the end of Raw that there is a real renewed effort for Finn Balor in a main event scene in a way that I don't think there will be for AJ Styles in this upcoming year.
Yeah. Well, let's not do that yet. Let's pause and set the
Yeah,
table.
but I say that to say
I
don't leave thinking AJ Styles is going to be in a world title program in this upcoming calendar.
Yeah. No, it was more me just thinking, let's pivot to that, but let's not, because we 10 minutes into the show, we got our block A talked through. We can talk more about this if we want, or the chat wants to, or if callers want to. But let's introduce ourselves here and then move on. This is the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show for Monday, January 19th, 2026. I'm Wade Keller, host of the show, editor, publisher, founder of the Pro Wrestling Torch weekly newsletter and the website PWTorch.com, which includes my live coverage in written format with a recap along with analysis of Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, along with PLEs on our website live, along with a bunch of news and exclusive articles you won't find anywhere else, some fun flashbacks, including some fun TNA flashbacks we've been publishing in recent days, now that TNA is back on a bigger platform, with some coverage of AJ Styles during his TNA years. So anyway, lots of reasons to visit our website, break away a little bit from the scrolling through social media and settle in for some really nice articles from a diverse crew of passionate writers who will help you think a little deeper about some things that are going on in wrestling and kind of understand not just what's happening, but why. PWTorch.com. I also host the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show after Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Last week, I hosted after TNA Impact, so check that out if you haven't yet. If you're listening to us on the podcast side of things on the Wade Keller Post Show feed, you did not see that Wade Keller Post Show on Impact. We moved it to the PW Torch Daily Cast feed, so search PW Torch and subscribe to that if you want to hear the podcast version, the audio version of last week's Impact Post Show. You can also search Wade Keller and subscribe to our Red Logo Show and Blue Logo Show. The Blue Logo is a Wade Keller podcast that features our weekly flagship, which tomorrow will feature Jason Powell from ProWrestling.net. Send your questions or topic suggestions for tomorrow's flagship recording to wadekellerpodcast@gmail.com. wadekellerpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a VIP membership. You all know about it if you're not brand new to us. pwtorch.com/govip is the way to become a VIP membership, unlock nearly 4 decades of content, podcasts, newsletters, articles, and also new content every day, including exclusive podcasts just for VIP members, including Nick Barbati Show. Nick, my co-host tonight, or this afternoon. Welcome. Tell how you doing, first of all?
Listen, Wade, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
I'm fresh with new technology and back at my disposal. You're going to have to show me how to use, what is this, StreamYard or whatever it is, because I got to start getting back in the Nikki's Club having co-hosts. I'm
Wait till you get the instructions on how that works.
I'll never be able to figure this out. I'm a plug and play kind of guy.
It's not that
plug and play kind of guy. But Wade, I'm very glad to be here. Love it. Don't threaten me with an afternoon wrestling show. I might show up. So very glad to be here.
You're doing great with Nikki's Club. Not many people can pull off solo podcasts. Somehow you're able to.
I got to tell you this. So I have long heard that it's the hardest thing in the world to do, was when people would say that the Wendy Williams and other people who would do solo talk shows, that people have no idea how hard that is to be able to do for even 15 minutes. And so it was actually a personal challenge that I wanted to do, to be able to grow my ability to be able to do a solo talker. And I've enjoyed it, but I kind of am missing the ability to be able to get in there and talk. So if anybody in the chat would like to be able to jump in there, send me an email, nicholas.barbati@gmail.com, and I'll be able to hopefully get you scheduled. Would love to be able to chat some wrestling with some individuals. But yeah, I do like talking, because I do, as I've said to you before, Wade, I like the idea of the Nikki's Club being one of those things that I wanted to be like, if you're driving, if you're walking, doing whatever you're doing, it's if you're on the phone with me, because that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know this. You've talked to me. It's like you can put the phone down and pick it up 40 minutes later. I'm still going.
Yes. It works well. So go VIP, find out what you're missing. You're missing a lot, including Nikki's Club. All right. Let's because we're on at an earlier time. That means we get some callers, maybe who we wouldn't normally get to talk
Okay.
to. So we're going to move to the caller portion of the show in a second. We got David Wolf up first, and then Rucker just called in too. If you want to be a caller, check out my report at PWTorch. The code changes every show, so you have to check out the report to get the link. But go to PWTorch, go to my TV report, click on the link, and then you'll show up in the waiting room, and you can be a caller on the show. You don't have to be on camera. If you've got a bad camera or just don't want to be on camera, just like our Blog Talk Radio days, you can just be an audio caller. Just turn off your camera, but you can still call. You can also email us, wadekellerpostshow@gmail.com. That's a way you can participate in the show, even if you're not watching live, by the way, but you can also email during the show, wadekellerpostshow@gmail.com. And finally, join us in the chat if you're watching us live on the PWTorch YouTube channel. If you're listening to us, or if you're watching us on YouTube and you haven't yet, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button. I don't harp on that a lot and talk about it a lot, but if you haven't done it yet, do it. And also like our shows and comment in the comments area, get some conversation going with other listeners. You can help initiate that engagement, which of course helps the algorithm spread the word about our show. All right. So let's go bring on David Wolf, a VIP member here. David, great to see you. Great to talk to you. Welcome to the show.
How's it going, Wade? Nick, how are you?
I'm great. Wait, David, nice to see you.
Good to see you, Wade. I hope you're safe. I hope your friends and neighbors are safe from the American SS.
They're not, but we're doing our best.
Yeah,
there's no one feels safe. The restaurants are shutting down. Hotels are shutting down. People are looking out their windows at night, learning about their constitutional rights, which would be trampled on anyway by these ICE agents who have been given unprecedented authority to trample. They pull citizens from their homes, detain them, and then when they realize they're citizens, they let them out in 0-degree weather without their coat, without a phone call, without their phone. And it's the protesters standing outside who let them borrow their phones to call family to come pick them up. It's a nightmare. It's awful, and it's a city 1/3 the size of Chicago with 3 times the ICE agents that Chicago had. It's awful, and it's unacceptable, and I think more people need to be made aware of it. I don't think the national media is doing a particularly good job conveying what's gone on in our community the last few weeks. I mean, they're just literally, it's just shutting down businesses left and right due to safety concerns and, frankly, just people scared to go out. So, yeah, it's rough.
I've heard that from others as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when the executive branch is the one that's responsible for enforcing the law, then it just becomes an impossible situation. So I want to call it a constitutional crisis or whatever, but I know people don't want to hear this. But
it's not sometimes people should hear what they don't want to hear, even in a context where they might be trying to, escape. And I'm not going to belabor the point, but if you're just kind of thinking, well, this won't affect me, I think a lot of people in Minnesota and other places have thought that, and now they're realizing not only does it, but you shouldn't be so self-centered and selfish to not care just because it's not in your backyard.
There's the old poem that, when they finally come for you, no one's left. To stand up for you. History repeats itself.
Call your Republican, if you live in a district with a Republican congressman or a Republican senator or Republican governor, just if you don't normally get active in politics, let them know how you feel, because that actually is one of the things you can do from the safety of your home to say, hey, this isn't right. Stand up against it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second that. So to get into more fun conversation, I guess. I guess what I'd like to discuss is what I think is a chess game that appears to be going on. With we had the pivot on SmackDown from what appeared to be Cody versus Roman as a direction for WrestleMania, right? We even got that indication at Survivor Series, and I don't know if it was show off reporting, but the Observers reported that was the original match, and that I don't know if you read the cover story in the Observer this past week, but Dave's reporting is that Cody and Drew advocated for Cody to lose the title. And Cody apparently believes that his chasing the title will be better for WrestleMania. He also felt that Cody versus Roman is a bit tiresome because it would be the 3rd time, and that fans would become fatigued by it. Now, this is when I want to start getting into a little bit of speculation, which is Cody might also be thinking a little, if he wrestles Roman, Roman could get cheered. The outcome of a 3rd match, I don't know if Cody winning makes the most sense. And I don't know if there's any type of political machinations going on between Cody and Roman, because Roman appears to have been squeezed out of WrestleMania main event. So I also am wondering how Roman and his real life advisor, Paul Heyman, react to this. What's their thought process? And to me, Roman, if he's squeezed out of this title shot here, which would be the WrestleMania main event of one of those nights, I think his best, if he could get onto Raw. Let's say he wins the Royal Rumble on Raw and then faces CM Punk for the title on the other night. I think that's really the only place Roman would want to end up, aside from what would be the main event. And you're also in a situation where until now, that SmackDown title has been the major title, right? That's the, what do they call it now? An undisputed championship. It was the Universal Championship, but that was the A title. But I think we're in an era where you would say more that the wrestler makes a title than the title makes the wrestler. And I think with Drew holding that title, if you have a title match at WrestleMania between Roman and CM Punk, and the other title match is Drew versus Cody, or Drew versus Cody, and even let's say you get, what's his name?
Fatu.
Holy cow, he's it. Fatu, yeah, and let's say Fatu's in the 3. Either way, I think at that point, Roman versus Punk, I think is the bigger match. And I think also at this point, you make an argument that maybe the #1 title should be on Raw, because Raw is the A show at this point. So Roman at that, Roman and Heyman, these are when you talk about wrestling IQ, Heyman's at the top of the list. So I don't want to say I expect it, but my play, if I'm Roman Reigns and I've been squeezed out of that main event, I'm like, okay, let me go wrestle CM Punk for that title. We can make that title the A title. Whether Roman beats Punk or whether Punk wins, and I think that becomes the most interesting match at WrestleMania. Because as much as I like Drew, and I think he's fantastic, I mean, Drew is not a guy that should be closing the second night of WrestleMania. Whether you want to say he earned it, I mean, that's not, as Wade has said many times, you don't really earn it. It's not even, it's you deserve it. No, it's who's the best guy to close that night. And I don't know. To me, like right now, if you're looking at it and you say CM Punk's one champion and Drew McIntyre's the other champion, I mean, what's the A championship at that point? I mean, Punk's the bigger star, I think. Pretty clear.
You could argue Punk's going on 50 and Drew is 40 and hungry and ready to deliver 5 years of main events for you. And sometimes the position on WrestleMania or the position that you're put in and the build and where you are in the poster, in a meta sense, sends a message to the audience. This is our top guy, and it can overcome some of the preconceptions people have. Obviously, it's not going to turn Grayson Waller into WrestleMania main event if they put him in the last spot on WrestleMania, but sometimes it can be a tipping point to be perceived a way that people at one time were willing to see you, and then we're kind of WWE booked that person out of being seen that way. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying it works in a lot of ways. The wrestler can make the title can make a wrestler, the position on a card, the way you're framed, the way you're talked about. They have a lot of options, and it is obviously an intriguing scenario. Nick, there's a lot there from David. What do you think about Roman Punk? I don't think Roman and Punk are as worried as maybe Cody should be about being in a position where the crowd would turn against him because of who his opponent is. And so I like the idea. I mean, I like the idea that Cody's thinking, and it's not selfish. Go, let me put myself, let me steer myself to a WrestleMania match where I'm actually facing heel.
Well, I think, David, I've never actually thought that they were going to do the Cody Roman match, the third match. I never thought that. I thought that seemed like a bad idea if anyone actually was thinking that was going to be the way it was going to go, whether it was legitimate reporting or not. I always thought that just seemed so redundant and nothing worth getting excited over from the beginning. So let's say that was the plan. I think that we were always going to get to the point where that was going to be really, really underwhelming for a lot of different reasons. One, there seems to be diminishing returns in excess at this point on Roman Reigns at this point in terms of really getting traction with a character at this point. I think his star power is still very, very much there, but getting excited from a storyline perspective has been difficult. He's just not around very much. And I think you're right. At this point, it's like Cody Rhodes has been, he's achieved a lot. And at that point, you get, it's so hard to cheer somebody when they've achieved so much at that point. I don't believe for 1 second Drew McIntyre is going to be in the championship, the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. I think that there's going to be a title change, whether it's at Elimination Chamber or somewhere else along the way. But because I think everything that you're outlining is correct. I mean, how do you go from when you list all the different wrestlers that are possible to be in a WrestleMania main event? You got your CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Braun Breaker, so on and so forth. Drew McIntyre is at a tier below all of them. And inherently, a match involving him feels like it's lesser than any of those other matches in a big way, I feel. So, I mean, to me, I think it's a storyline mechanism to get him in the championship right now. And I think it's just going to be something, a hurdle in the meantime, but I don't think he's going to be holding the title by the time we get to WrestleMania. And if he does, I'll be disappointed, quite frankly.
So a couple comments in the chat. Don't throw back to David for some follow-up here. Derek Hubbard says, I support the hottest wrestler with the hottest story getting the main event spots. With the right story, I can see Drew defending the title at Mania. Right now, he does not have a novel or hot opponent.
Agreed.
And he also, a bit earlier, said the online speculation is laughable. They cite every likely scenario based on what they see and interpret on television. Right. And then when they're wrong, they claim plans have changed. Just speculation, not news.
Cody, Jacob, and what's it called? Drew. That is not happening at WrestleMania. It's not happening. I mean, the fact that we're already seeing Cody and Jacob at Saturday Night's Main Event means it's not happening. I mean, it's just not. Now, I say that. But we also last year had Jey Uso versus Gunther at this Saturday Night's Main Event, and then that was repeated at WrestleMania. But I like to think someone's learned their lessons. But no, I really don't think so.
They can get to Drew against Cody night 1 of WrestleMania, and then let Roman and Punk end night 2 of WrestleMania. If the hang-up is you don't think Drew's at that level.
Well, if Cody wants to open WrestleMania, I mean, I really do think that's what we're talking about, Wade. I mean, if they're looking at a really reshuffled card. But I mean, if Seth Rollins is back, I mean, I don't know. I'm not following injury reports and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is not a WrestleMania main event. It's just not.
They've wrestled several times already too. I mean, this feud's been going on for a half a year, right?
Yeah.
Cody and Drew.
Yeah. It's not interesting.
So Cody's pivoting from Roman to what should be a fresher feud it's fresher in terms of WrestleMania, but it's really not fresher. Like, you could have a fresher match with Roman Reigns if, let's say, Cody were the heel, which I'm not advocating either. But I do think you're going to have a tough time getting Cody cheered at this point in a match against Roman. Just because, he was cheered the first time. That story ended. So if they're going to go back to that story, just like when you went back to Brock Lesnar time and again, it becomes more interesting if at least you flip the faces and heels.
Quick question to both of you on this, if I might. Let's rewind 6-9 months. And David, if with the talent available, include Brock, Braun Breaker, everybody that we've talked about.
Brock should be gone.
Well, yeah. But the reality, if we strip away that aspect of things, like what would you? Well, I shouldn't say strip away. You can take that into account too. What two men's main event matches for the 2 respective world titles? If you could go back 9 months and start planning or a year or whatever, what would you think? Again, don't take into account what happened at Survivor Series because you get to control that. Don't talk about SummerSlam, what happened there. It doesn't tie your hands. You get to control last year's SummerSlam, last year's Survivor Series, and everything. What would you have built to leading into WrestleMania this year, David, as those 2 matches?
Nick, you want to handle that first?
No, go ahead, Nick.
I think they never fully did.
I never considered it.
They never fully did Roman Punk. They should have done that. I mean, last year, and they should do it this year.
And they can.
Thank you. Okay, can I have my head back, Wade? Thank you. But that should be one. But the other one and I truly believe this should happen this year, and this should be what they're building to, although I don't know how they would get there, but it should be Cody and Braun Breaker. Now, I think that they're probably looking further down the line for that, but to me, that's the exciting match. That is what Cody should be more pivoting to. Cody is in this circle right now, where he's the circle, the drain, where he's like Roman, Seth, like all the Drew, the same ones over and over, John Cena, all of it over. Like there needs to be a new pivot, a new era for Cody, to kind of like get him kind of in a new generation of individuals that I would like to see. And that would really signify kind of getting him into creating a whole new generation of big bad opponents for him. That's the match that I'm hungry for. And I say this, and I've said this before in the Nikki's Club, WWE is taking too much time to get to big matches that I feel like they're forgetting about them, quite frankly. Like what was this, Survivor Series 2 years ago, like they were hinting so heavily that we were going to get to Punk versus Roman, that they just didn't do it. And then like I said, these guys aren't getting any younger. And then time goes by. The stories are, the people are taking, the part-timers are taking too long to come back. And they're just not getting storylines over the finish line to be able to effectively tell the stories that they've almost promised. But that's the one that I would have gotten to. And I just like the old quarterback and the new quarterback jockeying for the big spot. That's the match I want to see.
And if you're watching this product, what you don't want to think is there's some good matches that make the most sense, that would be the freshest. If you value freshness, and I think that should be a box you aim to check. You don't want to go into WrestleMania just with a tired match that people are, have seen a lot and already move on from. You don't want to look at the booking and go, what's happening here is people of political influence are wedging themselves into a match that isn't best for the fans or the show, but instead, what will we do with Wrestler X if we don't do this match and it displaces a match that might be better? Roman might be that guy this year where you're like, man, maybe, if we make the case. So Cody against Breaker and Punk against Roman could work, but then who's displaced and who has political power, that kind of thing. And you don't want to think decisions are being made based on that, but of course that's part of it. You kind of, honestly, you don't book... WWE and most promoters don't book forward to the best match. They work backwards from the stars who they believe in and they believe have earned a main event spot at this big annual show. And they kind of book backwards from there. What do we do with Roman? What do you do with Cody? Right. What do you do with Punk? And they book backwards and steer themselves towards a match that they think will work. But it doesn't mean it ends up being necessarily the best card. But realistically, that is kind of what, when you look at what's likely, it isn't, that match is stale, or this match has or hasn't happened yet, or is this person ready? Sometimes it's just how the pieces fall once the people with the most influence get what they want, or what, Paul Levesque thinks they should have. All right, David, you've had time to think about it, even listen to Nick's answer. And do you have any thoughts on that?
I think unfortunately, my answer is going to be pretty close to what Nick has just provided. But I did come up with the Roman against Punk match for this year's Mania.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that was also the match I think should have been last year's Mania's main event, and then they went with the three-way. Yep. And I mean, if we're going to go back in time, I would also have had Paul Heyman go with Punk and turn Punk heel, and I think we could have played that out and then gotten to Roman versus Punk in this year's Mania. As far as Cody goes, Cody's a rough one because Cody's probably the other main event. And this is a discussion I had with Todd a year ago, because Cody's babyface run, it hasn't expired. It's not like he needs to be turned. But I did feel like the matchups, and I think time has proven that correct, are not that fresh with Cody as a babyface. And had Cody turned, the matchups would have been a lot, I don't know if fresher's the word or better. And even if you're talking about a Braun Breaker, I think it would have been more interesting had Cody been the heel with Breaker as the face. I mean, it's just, this realigns everything. And I'm just wondering too, when it comes to Breaker versus Cody, which is, I think, a big match and a possible Mania match, maybe a year too early at this point.
I'll bring
like
up
Hunter might be thinking that. Right,
I'll bring up my first food analogy of the show. Sometimes you look.
I got a food analogy. Great.
You do. You got one. sometimes you look at the pantry and the fridge and the freezer, and there's something that appeals to you, but there's something else that will expire if you don't get to it now. And the other thing can wait. And so you end up eating, instead of the frozen pizza, you end up using that bag of lettuce that only has 2 days left of being crisp. So WWE does work sometimes that way. Like, I think fans are like, oh, that match would be great. I was like, well, right, they know that too, but they don't want to rush into it because it's not ripe yet. And they have other things that just they want to fit in, and that other thing can wait. And so some of that is happening here. I think people are like, oh, why didn't Braun Breaker get a match against Cody or against Cena on his retirement tour? Could have been all kinds of things, but maybe Breaker wasn't ready to do a job, and they didn't want Cena to lose to him. And it just wasn't important enough, and the political behind-the-scenes interests didn't align. There's a lot of reasons why matches don't happen, but one of the main reasons that I think fans should keep in mind is the best match this year can also be even better next year if you wait. And sometimes you go with a lesser match to make the alternative you're skipping get to full ripeness before you pull the trigger on it.
Wait,
Tony Khan has taken that to an extreme, though.
Yes.
So can I just say I agree with you, Wade?
If you yell loud enough, Nick, you can.
Yeah, apparently. But my issue is there. I think there should be a balance with this card of using the real established main eventers, and then also just making sure in one of the World Championship matches there is a fresher face. And Drew McIntyre has been so established. I mean, he was in the World Championship match 6 years ago for WrestleMania, and yes, he's been out of the picture for a while, but he's been in the WWE. He's been in an upper mid card area. I just feel like, if we're being honest with ourselves, when we think about WrestleMania and what the main events should look like, these main events have just been very stale, and they've been the same cast of characters for so long. It would really benefit from having that burst. So I hear you, Wade, that yes, and the idea that we're maybe a year out, sure, but these years are taking too long, and I really believe that. And it's like sometimes these things are just taking too much damage happens in a year by just having that weighted the lettuce goes to wilt too long.
True.
No. The pizza gets freezer burn. I think it's
you got it. Yes,
I like vegan pizza.
Yeah.
Yes.
The vegan pizza. But I would say, and I'll put in a word for. I wouldn't have gone with like a Gunther as opposed to Braun Breaker, because I think he's doing some amazing work right now, and he could very well be main eventing WrestleMania next year after he's retired. He's going to retire AJ and Brock and Chris Jericho. Who's on our list for this year for Gunther?
I think, and maybe Ray. Throw Ray in, and then you got him all.
Ray. That's not a bad gimmick. The career killer, not bad at all. I mean, it could become a bit of a streak. It's like, will Gunther put this?
For the record, I have no interest in seeing Gunther versus Brock. I think the match will not be good. I don't think visually that will do Gunther any favors. I think Gunther's going to look out of shape and small next to him, which I think is absolutely not the intent of that match, which, by the way, Gunther is neither of those things. He's not small nor out of shape, and I think that this is problematic in a lot of different facets.
Pro wrestling tends to do that, though.
Yeah, I think that Gunther should be steered clear of that match completely, quite frankly. And I don't think people should be encouraging them to have that match.
You hear that, Wade?
I'm just brought it up. I didn't know he was going to yell at me for bringing up a possibility. I don't think Ray's going to retire 2 months after AJ Styles retires. And I think they'll save the rematch for when Ray really is going to retire, or they'll just avoid it, because you don't want.
What do you think the possibilities of AJ retiring at Royal Rumble could be?
What do I think?
Either of you.
Well, go ahead, David. Yeah, I mean, I think it feels too soon, but you've talked me into thinking it might be a short retirement year for him.
Yeah,
it feels too soon, but I think this thing with Gunther is going to keep going. I mean, I guess you could have the rematch. It seems strange that they go back to another retirement stipulation after having AJ win. And how do you get back? I think AJ's losing. I think this thing with Gunther is going to go for a while, and he's going to retire anyone he faces for a while.
I think it's always possible there's an injury we don't know about. I think that's always a thing, and I'm not insinuating anything, but I think there's always like just personal reasons that we might know about. This feels accelerated, but it also feels like I just, the more I think about it, I just feel like it would be odd to Gunther just beat John Cena. Like, how to have him lose a month later? I mean, I struggle with that. How do you have him lose? Like, he already did the tap, even if it was just superficial and meant to be trickery, and then literally lose a month later. I mean, that seems to undo a lot of the biggest storytelling arc that they had. I don't know.
If he does not lose and is forced to retire at the Rumble, I'm curious what story they tell. I mean, because it seems like they should go back to it, and that should be how. But maybe the idea is Styles has a different match he wants to end on, and management goes, okay, we'll give that to you, but we'd like to do we'd like to do the retirement gimmick with you, but you actually get to survive it, and taunt Gunther with it. And maybe they have a rematch. Maybe Gunther wins, but it's not a career at stake. And then Styles wrestles out the year in his retirement matches at SummerSlam against somebody who he really wants to go out against. I mean, let's not rule out his last match won't be against Gunther. Maybe that's why it is premature, because Styles is going to survive it, and Gunther won't add him to, his list of people he retired.
I hate that.
I do as well.
That's so stupid. Wait, stop talking.
What? Why? Elaborate. Why? First of all, I'm throwing it out there, not because it's like.
Well, no, because it's exactly, because it's like, I'm not going to repeat myself. It's exactly what I just said. So John Cena, the greatest of all time, the GOAT. We just watched an entire show dedicated to the end of his thing, the end of his career. We talked for a month about people being devastated that he lost, and blah, 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 and then Gunther loses a month later. I mean, what are we doing here? Then what are we doing? Like, I want all those hours of me talking back. Then I'm not doing it.
Retires Goldberg, John Cena, and then he can't retire AJ Styles.
Yeah, please.
Taking nothing away from AJ Styles.
Derek Cover says
I don't think that's where you stop it.
How Gunther loses is more important than taking a loss. A clever pin would work. Darrell Freeman in the chat says, if AJ loses at the Rumble, the IWC is going to have a fit and go crazy online, because that meant he retired at Saudi, and they wouldn't care about the story. They'll blame Triple H for that.
Yeah, who cares about the IWC?
Yeah, I don't like saying those letters. It's rare I'll say them unless it's in front of me and I can't substitute quick enough. It doesn't really exist as a monolithic voice.
One thing we haven't considered is how this all plays into Unreal, which might be the real way to figure out what's going to happen.
I don't even want to think about.
Well, I got to tell you that, David, I did think about Unreal at the very end of the show with the scene involving CM Punk and Finn Balor, which Wade won't let me speak about. That thought came across my mind exactly as they were talking. I said, that's the scene that they're filming for Unreal backstage. You heard it here first. Wade.
David, you going to jump in there?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
No, because they are pumping. No, just because they obviously film this time of year for that show. That's like something that they are really about. They want the whole Royal Rumble to WrestleMania season. They did last year, at least. So they're probably doing 2 seasons a year. And, it was just, they were going so over the top with the speaking into the camera bits, both CM Punk and Finn Balor, when they both made their entrances. And then the ending with they were like leaning into the real emotion between the two performers, and then the hug and everything. And just
besides that, Nick, was this even canon though? I mean, is this a hint of a babyface turn for? I
think so. I think you're going to see.
Or is this just going to be forgotten about, and he's going to be?
I don't think it's going to be forgotten about. I don't think it's going to be forgotten about. I think you're going to see a real renewed push.
Then it's not just for Unreal. See, I was going to say, if this is not canon, then it really is just an Unreal.
Well, I think it's going to be both. I think the way WWE is booking and is being positioned
the way Paul Levesque. This is the Paul Levesque era. Let's not say Paul Levesque.
Oh. Well, I think
the commercial. He's brilliant. Don't email him though. Don't bother him these days. I emailed him. I wanted to get on WrestleMania. He ignored it.
No, well, that happens. Well, regardless, I think everything is now intertwined, and I think that's the way that the business model is. And I think that now there is something in what we saw today. I mean, I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Quick
David,
pivot. I just wanted to ask about Javon. I mean, that was mysterious.
Yeah, what's mysterious is Michael
not showing footage of it.
Yeah, Michael Cole and Corey Graves are sitting there during commercial, presumably watching the match, and we get back from the break, and it's like they didn't watch the match.
What happened?
Like, how could we possibly know what happened to poor Javon Evans? We don't know. We think he might be injured. Okay, what? You were right there.
It might be his shoulder. We think it's his shoulder.
Tell us. You saw it. Tell us the move. Like, okay, while we were at break, Javon did this, and then that happened, and since then, he's been rubbing his shoulder and his wrist. We have to, like, it was, I don't know, just why are we pretending it's, like, did he slip on the top rope? I haven't heard, so maybe people on social media.
Wait, I think we actually saw it. I think it was when he started getting pushed into the, I could be wrong, but there was an awkward, if you watched earlier, there was an awkwardness of when he was being thrown into the guardrail kind of thing. And there was just like he did an awkward catch of his body, and he looked over. I'm just saying, maybe if anyone in the chat saw it, I can't really see the chat, but there was just a moment, and I went, "Oh, that looked a little odd." And then he jumped up, and then they went to commercial within 30 seconds. Well, I wondered if something happened there, if there was like a catch with his shoulder.
I was writing up a report on Raw and then went right to hosting the show. So if anybody saw anything on social media, I assume there's like some handheld clip or somebody is reporting something. And if you post it in the chat, I'll get it on the show. Because maybe that information is out there. It was if what you're saying is true, Nick, that it was kind of like, wait, what's going on here? It wasn't a move that led to it. Then that would actually take Michael Cole and Corey Graves off the hook a little bit, and would explain what feels weird, which is like, but he could have said,
yeah, I think it's what Derek is saying. It happened going into the break. It was before. Yeah. It was before the break. I'm telling you, it really was.
Okay, so then. Even then, I would say Cole and Graves should go. During the break, we don't know that there was no move that looked like it injured Javon. Like there wasn't. He didn't slip on the top rope, but suddenly, something came on from an injury earlier in the match. It was a weird thing. Okay, so Derek Mitchell in the chat says that there's an entity reporting it appears to be a shoulder injury. Duh. I mean, he was rubbing his shoulder. He's being helped from the ring. This is not reporting. That's just observing and stating something that.
I think he actually pointed to his shoulder as he was walking back.
Yes, exactly. Like that's. I mean, yes, we stipulate to that. It appears.
Derek Mitchell, I apologize on behalf of everybody involved in the call. Thank you for your time.
I'm assuming Derek pointed that out to make fun of the news entity for saying something. It's like Anyway, a light bulb goes out, and then some reports the light appears to have burned out. Like, yes, we know that. We saw that. Like, why? That's not report.
Another AEW show.
Well, wait, it's because others are saying in here that there was a pec injury. That's why.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So I don't. So we've concluded now that there was an injury that probably happened going into the break, and it came on during the break. Javon realized he couldn't wrestle through it, and that bewildered Cole and Graves. And there probably wasn't much that happened at all during the break, but they had to have him stall at ringside until they could show him being helped out, I guess, or until he felt good enough to stand. So it sucks because he was getting a good push, and we learned he likes to have fun. This didn't look like it was fun.
Bouncy.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. Derek says, Derek Hubbard in the chat goes, I've seen torn pecs before. When he was walking to the back, he had a space between his shoulder and pec, either a separated shoulder or a torn pec. Well, thanks, Derek. I thought you were going to clear up whether it's a shoulder or pec injury, and then you close with it's either a shoulder or pec injury, based on your expertise. All right. I'm giving everyone a hard time here. We'll get word soon.
And to think these are your supporters.
I mean, got to hold everybody accountable. Anyway, David, what else? If anything else,
I'll let you get going. I've spent enough time.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Derek says both look the same. Derek, I'm just giving you a hard time, but there we go. All right.
Look the same, but one would be
worse.
Considerably worse.
Yes.
So let's hope it's a separated shoulder. If it's one of those two, let's hope.
Chat room came through. Azan White has reported Javon is hurt.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Thank you,
Azan. Now the next person go up. Oh, bottom. He says that's the bottom line. He appears to be hurt. Maybe it's all a work. You know what, Nick? Maybe this is for Unreal.
Oh, okay.
Javon was
the whole episode tonight was about Unreal.
Javon was scheduled to do the job. He took it onto himself to fake an injury to avoid doing a job, and that's going to be a controversy.
Oh wait, and everyone believes it.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the back right now. They're like,
yeah.
We fooled everybody.
Yeah.
We didn't even show a replay, so no one could possibly say that this was fake.
All right. Thanks, David. Good to see you. Talk to you.
Guys.
Appreciate it.
Bye, David.
Bye.
What do you think, Nick, of the WWE Unreal R-Truth segment tonight?
Huh. Well, I think you mean the little clips. It was only I only saw the few clips. I think it's interesting. I'm not as down. I mean, listen, I watched 2 episodes of Unreal. And I didn't like it. It just didn't do anything for me. I wouldn't say I was like turned off by the entirety of its existence. I thought it sounded right, like that he wasn't fired, that he wasn't going to be renewed, and that there was probably a panic backstage in terms of the optics of how that looked. And I found that probably of everything that they have for this season, probably the most clickbaity, to get people to tune in. So obviously they knew that drew a lot of interest at the time. And I think they're hoping that brings everyone back in. I assumed at the time it was legitimate. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Who knows?
No, I think it was legit. I think it was what happened was legitimate. And I also think both sides look bad here. What you have is Paul Levesque going, yeah, we play head games with our people. We're far apart on money, so we're going to say, well, we're not going to renew your deal. And we say that hoping you come back with a more reasonable understanding of your value to us. And you got BG James towing the company line like always. And then you have our truth, Ron Killings, just being like, oh, well, I guess I misunderstood the language and I got emotional and I hastily tweeted. And so even that doesn't make him look good. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody came away looking sympathetic here.
I don't think anyone looked good.
So is Unreal worth it if you're going to like fancy yourself, we're going to pull the curtain back and we're going to be so honest when so much of it isn't honest. It's spun. It's manipulated. It's orchestrated. And we're going to sell it to you as our new con, the new work. Which is we still have this thing where we don't want you to think we won't level with you, so we're going to level with you, and it's just a TV series with a mix of real and manipulated, real and completely fake, orchestrated stuff. It's a new work, and it's not. I will say this: This doesn't.
Was there a question in there, or are we just on a monologue?
I do some monologues, and I think the issue with Truth in Levesque here that I'm kind of winding around to is this is a story that doesn't offend me that they include it because it's something that happened and now they're documenting it. I don't think either side looks good. I understand why they're putting it in the show, but it's a show that needs material. And so now you're like talking about things you might want to not talk about. And then you're kind of giving away your tactics in a way that makes people start thinking about pro wrestling the way sports fans have to think about sports in the off season, which is, oh yeah, this player who I was cheering for, he's in it only for the money. Or the GM doesn't really care about loyalty. They just care about X, Y. Like pro wrestling is nice. We don't have to think about that stuff. We certainly don't need the company itself shining a spotlight on the cutthroat. Well, he's too old and not worth it. And we play head games with them by icing them and telling them we're not going to renew, hoping that is a wake-up call that they are overvaluing themselves. I don't want to think about Levesque that way. I don't want to think about R-Truth being manipulated. I want the wrestler to not be at the mercy of management putting themselves over on TV, and that's what that was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily take all of that from that clip. In that, I didn't take the manipulation of Paul Levesque being so overt. I really didn't. Listen, you're talking to somebody who just recently lost their job. So I'm coming at it from that angle. And I worked there 19 years and they didn't give a crap. They just threw my ass out there. However, listen, one of the things that I do think plays out is I'm curious to see how it plays out is there are truths that we all saw play out in that he was not going to be employed there anymore. And then there was this support that came from wrestlers, current wrestlers, former wrestlers, all this, that WWE that was then backed in the corner to then hire him back. And I think you can't have it both ways, though. I mean, like it's what, like, they're not allowed to share their side of it. I mean, he, like, they got rid of him because they didn't think he was worth it anymore. And quite frankly, has nothing that's really happened since he's been brought back has shown that he really was worth having around that much. I don't know. I agree. This is not interesting. I'm not watching this show. So when you say, is it worth having? I think there's an audience for the show. I know a lot of people that watch this show and don't watch the product anymore because they are interested in the mechanism. Like, this is their version of PWTorch, Wade. This is like the new version of being able to tune into backstage information without actually like committing to it too much. And like without having to follow the product. This is doing it all in one shot in the WWE's version that they want to tell. That's what it is.
I've never denied people want to watch this show, but I don't think it's worth doing. I don't think anything that people watch is worth doing.
I understand that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, like people are interested in this. Well, right. I've never argued people aren't interested in this. My argument is WWE shouldn't give people what they're interested in if it undercuts what they're doing, if it makes management feel ruthless in a way that I don't think you should voluntarily advertise.
I think it's gone a long way of making people think Jey Uso's lazy. I think that was that they built that narrative in the first season of Unreal, and that has like really been persistent in ways that maybe people wouldn't have latched onto otherwise. I think that's an example.
Yep, you're for the sake of a limited series episode drop once or twice a year on Netflix. That's not a huge revenue generator. You're forcing into the format and the hours you have to fill material that I think is best kept in-house. I don't want to throw a party for friends and have a couple come over and the first thing they start telling me is how they argued before they got there. Let's relax and have fun and have a party. I don't need full disclosure on everything. There's time. This is a show that feels like the segment tonight. It's like, oh, you're going to be intrigued by this because you all cared about it. Well, yes, you do care. I'm not denying people care about it. I'm not denying people who don't watch WWE might watch this show. But I think it's ultimately, in the big picture, damaging to the main product. And I think when Paul Levesque has worked hard to babyface himself to the audience through NXT, featuring smaller wrestlers who were overlooked by Vince McMahon, doing media Q&As and being the friendly guy, puts himself on camera, giving contracts to the favorite of ardent fans, as he coined the term. He did a lot for that, and now it's being undercut because he's saying, because he's one, you could say he's right, but he's also publicly shaming R-Truth for overvaluing himself. Right. Like, do I want to watch WWE and watch R-Truth going, oh, this is a guy who overvalues himself, or do I want to watch a WWE brand and go, this is a company where management undervalues R-Truth and called him out on television and humiliated him? Do I want to think R-Truth has been, like, I'm trying to think of a term that I don't want to use, forced into a state of relinquishing what he felt his value was through a game of manipulation that happens every day in all workplaces, but shouldn't be talked about in the show that you're trying to get us to like the brand, like the promoter, and like the wrestler. Sometimes it just keep it behind closed doors. So it's not about like, oh, the secret's hurt. You can write a book on it. You can do a documentary 3 years from now, but you're still trying to make money on R-Truth. Paul Levesque's still trying to babyface himself as this different type of promoter. And now in order to draw people into something that is insignificant and meaningless in the big picture in terms of their revenue, it's not going to help draw out WrestleMania. And if the argument is people who don't watch WWE are going to watch the series, who cares about them? Like, I mean, it's just like, that's a blip on a map. Why would you undercut everything you're doing and undercut yourself and your wrestlers for a show that just isn't that important in the bottom line? You could do something entirely different.
I think it's appealing to Netflix. I think that's all.
Well, right. I don't doubt that. And back when TNA was being dictated who to sign because Spike TV executives were fans of the Monday Night War era and were nostalgic for old names, I argued, the network should butt out of the business of the promoter. Let the promoter do their job. Don't cater to them. And the people at Spike TV were telling TNA what they wanted them to do. You didn't. That's not your job. Your fandom is, you are a part-time lapsed fan who doesn't know what today's fans want. You don't know what's best for the company that you're paying money for their show. Stay out of their business and let them promote. And same thing with the Netflix. Don't placate the network. We saw that on Thursday with Impact, where the show was built around Raw, TNA, and trying to get fans to AMC. It's like, How about you get the viewers who are watching your show to care about your freaking world title main event instead of
I
Raw
didn't watch
your
the
brand
TNA show. I heard it was a disaster.
It was yeah. I was charitable on Thursday, but yeah, it was a disaster. And I was not high on the show. I'm just saying, like, I was maybe diplomatic's the best word to put it. All right. So yeah, I don't like the concept for so many. And show, like last week, they showed Seth Rollins like out of character. Oh, my son's a dad. Why are you faking it? It's like, Jesus. Like, I don't, in the middle of reading I used this analogy in a podcast last week. In the middle of reading a novel, I don't want the author in the middle to start telling me about his inner thoughts about what he wanted to do next with the plot. Or, like, I don't want the novel I'm in the middle of deconstructed while I'm reading it. And that's
right. You're not watching the director's cut of the DVD the first time you watch the movie.
Right. And pro wrestling is a never-ending novel. So until a wrestler retires or a company shuts down, don't include in the canon and the narrative the process. I don't want to be sitting down for a meal and having someone come to me and tell me how that, the plants were harvested and the animal was butchered. Just like, let me enjoy the damn meal.
Okay. You don't do this at dinner parties, do you? I hope.
Do I what?
You don't do this at dinner parties.
I don't podcast. I'm not inviting you to my dinner party. That's for sure. Let's see. Jack Reed says TNA will always TNA, whatever name or network it's on.
Do you know I've never seen an episode of TNA in any capacity? I've never seen any TNA.
That's wild.
Impact, anything. Nothing.
Well, you should watch last week's episode and review it on Nikki's Club. I
don't even know how to see it. And I say that to say I have never had any. There's something about that name. I don't know why. I know it sounds like such a 20 years ago. It was just such a thing for me. It just always felt like they were never going to get out of their own way. That was what I always thought about that company.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, they are a company that is even worse than Tony Khan has been at reliving old tired tropes and being completely thinking. I mean, the big thing in the theme of the show was putting over the brand and their heritage and trying to be something, trying to validate themselves rather than just put on a good pro wrestling show about wrestlers and a title and a main event. And they just, when you say they can't get out of their way, you're right, but it permeates everything. I mean, WWE's better about not bragging about their record revenues and attendance and new blockbuster deals, which it's like people sitting at home don't care about super rich people talking about what the great deal makers that they are. Just give us an entertaining show.
And let me ask you this before we go back to WWE. I just want to ask you this. AEW right now, Wade, if you were looking at it like a scale of like 1 to 10 in terms of momentum or like progress, with like 10 being their high point of where they've been, where are they right now, you think?
AEW?
Yeah.
It's an no, don't take offense. It's an overly simple construct.
Okay.
So I think there's more nuance.
It was the earliest one that came to my head. So if you have a better one.
Yeah, but I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to be defensive about it. I'm just saying I'm saying my answer that they're at a 6 is full of caveats in context that I would want to explain for minutes. But I think that they have a solid TV deal with a network that's, who knows the future. So there's a caveat. Mm-hmm. Buy rates are holding up. Attendance isn't. They have a really good roster. They're better off now than they were a year and a half, 2 years ago creatively. So it's good and it's bad. But the thing is it just, I mean, some weeks it's a really solid product and there's a foundation there that I think they can sustain themselves. I think that it's been a lot of missed opportunities and needless backward steps that they've had to correct course on that I thought could have been, should have been easily avoided. And some of it's just you try and it doesn't work. So yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, let's bring Chris Rucker into the show, our next caller. Chris, welcome. Thanks for holding during all that. What's on your mind about tonight's show?
No problem. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Good, Chris.
One thing for the people in the chat and the people that listen, it is very nerve-wracking to sit in the backstage area and listen to everything that they talk about and not be able to like go back and forth with it. So when people come on and they kind of seem flustered, I think that's why, because they got so much stuff going through their head they want to talk about. I will say I took a couple notes. One, afternoon shows, phenomenal. I love them. I agree with you, Nick. If we could do afternoon pay-per-views every Saturday when pay-per-views come on, I would be the happiest person in the world.
Chris, I'm with you. I'm going to a concert after the Royal Rumble. Like, listen, I know people got issues with the location. I get that, but like, I'm here for having a nightlife after this too.
Yeah, I was at WrestleMania last year in Vegas, and it was over at like 7 p.m. local time. You could still go take a nap. You could hit the casino. You know what I mean? Like, you could still go out after.
Yep.
It's
Did you win? I never win at the casino.
Yes, I did. I did really well last year.
That's
in
my
Vegas.
guy. That's good.
What'd you win at?
I was at roulette. I love roulette.
Oh, okay.
I know it's a simple game and there's no skill involved or whatever, but for some reason I can sit at a roulette table for like 3-4 hours straight if I'm doing well.
Cool.
I do the damn genie machine. I don't know how to play those games. I do the genie machine. That genie, you got to go to the mummy. The mummy's good.
Other thing, Nick, you brought up solo podcasting. So I do a wrestling podcast now with a buddy, but when I first started, I was doing it by myself and I thought, oh, this will be easy. Like, I can talk forever about whatever. And after like the first 7 or 8 podcasts, I was like, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about this week. Like, it is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There's the old saying, everybody is back in the kind of newspaper blog days, everybody has one good column in them. And then it's like, oh, I got to do this every week, so.
Drew McIntyre, you guys are talking about him at WrestleMania not being the guy. I disagree. I think Drew is probably one of the most interesting characters in WWE right now. And I think the matchup for him is simple to make him the main event. Roman Reigns. They got so much history. There's such a big storyline. Drew's whole personality right now started because the bloodline screwed him over so many times. So I think Roman winning the Rumble and fighting Drew McIntyre is who wins, who knows, but I think that's easy.
Come on, Chris, you and I both know that's not good enough for WrestleMania. You know better, I know better. That's like that's Elimination Chamber. Wait, no one tagged you in this yet.
I believe Chris that he believes it's good. You can't call Chris a liar.
Well, Chris and I are friends now, Wade. Chris and I are across from each other at the roulette table having this conversation.
I like it. I'm in Vegas this year.
So here's why I say that. I mean, to me, they've already had a WrestleMania match. They were at 35, right? I don't think to me, it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. Here's what I think with Drew. And I'm not knocking Drew that I don't think Drew deserves a big match at WrestleMania. I actually think Drew is Jericho WrestleMania 25. I think he is like that heel who is like so good right now, but he should be in like a specialty match. So if he is like, I think he's going to have like a really signature match. I just don't think it's a world title match is all I'm saying, because I think it's like predetermined that Drew's going to lose, or it's not going to be, even if he does win. No. Okay. So you won that one. But there, I'm glad you can feel better that you got that dig in. Go ahead. I just think in general, it's just not like going to be the capstone of getting people excited for the last match of a WrestleMania. I think if he does go into WrestleMania as the world champion, it's the show opening type match. That's really what I think. And I don't think that's where he wants to be. I don't think that's where he should be. I think doing a real specialty match midway through the show, I think that kind of fits who he is. And I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it is literally Jericho. I don't know.
I think if they book it right now, you're right. It seems like an opening card, mid-card match. But I think before you get to Mania, Drew is so good right now at talking people into the feuds that he's in. Just look at his history over the past year and a half. If you don't think he can make you feel that him versus Roman is the main event for WrestleMania, I don't know what to tell you. He's proven that he can make himself the most important person on the brand. He made Cody important. Cody hadn't been important in over a year.
I don't know what the missing factor is with Drew that makes him a universally agreed upon centerpiece, perennial main event guy in his prime with this legacy that you can build on. But there's something.
He's lost too much, Wade. He's lost too much.
Well, there's something there because his work on the microphone during feuds that should have been way too just people please. I mean, people were saying please move on from some of it, but he really brought it. I don't know if he brings it himself or he's got a good writer who knows his character or what combination it is, but he is a fantastic performer. And in the ring, he passes the bar. He can work against a wide array of ring styles, and that shouldn't be used as a disqualifier. I mean, he's better than Roman Reigns from a action movement standpoint at this point, where Roman is very, calculated and plotted out and very effective. By the way, I'm not dissing Roman. I'm just like, any criticism you have of Drew not being, Will Ospreay or Seth Rollins or something, it's like we got to apply it to Roman, and obviously that disqualifies it because he's been super successful at it. One comment here in the chat, Tagar Laga says, my opinion, if McIntyre has that defining match as champion along with worthy feuds, it may lead to a face turn for him. Because remember, when McIntyre was a face champ, we all had to stay home. Yes, Drew talks about that a lot, that era where he's kind of cheated out of having a crowd. Azan White said Drew is just cool. I'm not willing to – I'm more on Team Chris and Team Nick in terms of I don't know that the past matters enough that it overrides that Drew would feel fresh on top. And he is someone who's paid a lot of money. He's a top guy. He can be there every week for you on the mic. You want him to stay healthy, but and then also have main event matches in the ring. And he's at a point where he's still hungry enough and available enough and wants to build a legacy. He'll be there every week for you. Brock won't. Roman won't. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it should be written off entirely as something that Drew can't, through his own performance, along with a committed booking scheme, earn a spot in a main event match at a WrestleMania and have it feel like, that this makes sense. This is not displacing something that would be better. I'm not guaranteeing that'll be the case, but I don't think it should be written off out of hand that he's at the top of level 2 when it comes to top guys.
Okay, but again, Derek Mitchell has my back in terms of Drew does not have the gravitas as a WrestleMania main event champion. Like you're talking about what should be and what you all want and what he deserves. That's not what we're talking about. It's what it is, guys. It's what it is.
Well, so, I'm not saying what I want. I'm disagreeing with you on what is. Let me clarify that.
I don't think you're right. So there.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just saying I don't think because people don't see Drew in that spot that means he can't win you over and the company can't win you over.
I think the window of time is too short for right now. I do. I think between now and WrestleMania, I think it's too short. And it's for those reasons. I think it's wrong that he's not where he should be. I think it's great that he won. I think he should have won. I predicted that he was going to win. I think that all those things should be. I don't think that there's an exciting opponent for him to get like even if he was where he was right now, right? There's no one opponent that Chris, I hear you about Roman. It just doesn't do anything for me personally. So maybe for enough other people there is. It just doesn't get me where I think it got you. That doesn't push me to the thing about being wow, that should be get me excited. But I'll tell you what doesn't get me excited. No, there's no way, no how, him versus Cody in any kind of match. I mean, that seems absurd. And the peers of you, Wade, are reporting that. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? That's ridiculous. This is not going to happen at WrestleMania, guys. It's not happening. Mark it down.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chris, frustrate you for 1 second. I want to just read a couple chat comments that I'm going to throw to you, and the floor will be yours. Jack Reese says, I'd argue Drew has been far more interesting and has a better connection to fans than CM Punk has been getting throughout 2025 up and through now. Azan White says, Oba, Femi, and Drew could have been could be a good storyline. Sadler Vision 3 says, Oba's not getting a WrestleMania match this early. So I just want to throw Oba Femi's name in there as if you are open to shooting someone to the top right away, very early in their run, if that's a card that you would be willing to play or endorse, maybe is a better way to put it. That's there. That's a fresh. It doesn't have some of the disqualifying factors that you guys are pointing out. Jack Reese says, I could see whoever wins the Rumble goes to, for the Raw title. Oba wins, faces Drew at Mania for the belt. So go ahead, Chris. Just want to sneak that in there because everyone's talking about, there's no options, and people earlier in the chat said Oba.
As somebody that cheered for Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at that WrestleMania where they showed up, and as somebody that was sick of Drew just constantly bitching about, I was champion when nobody else was around. everybody that was a champion then was champion when nobody was around. It didn't just apply to him. So for him to always be complaining about that kind of annoyed me. But the past year and a half, he's turned me completely around on him to the point where now I look forward to Drew McIntyre being on my TV. And I think he could do the same with a big time WrestleMania main event push going towards it.
Well, I like Azan White in the chat saying we're getting real here with the fighting. But I also like, especially him saying Drew is like the modern day Jake Roberts. And I agree with that, actually. That's, I think, a great comparison point for where I see Drew, although, obviously the title is something that Jake did not have. I see Drew being, mark it down here, January 19th, 2026. Drew will be in a grudge match or a specialty match at WrestleMania. It's not going to be a world title match.
Jacob Fatu?
I mean, sure. I think even bigger. I think bigger, guys. I really do. I think it would be, don't get mad when I say this. I think it could be a celebrity match or it could be a real big return. I do.
Derek Hubbard in the chat says, giving over the title out of the gate would send a strong message of young and new. I think that is what 2026 needs to be about. Young and fresh. Derek Mitchell says, Drew just doesn't have the gravitas as a WrestleMania main event champ. Mark Biscotti says, I've listened to both arguments. Can Drew reach legacy status at this point in his career? Yes. He's not aged out. His character and storyline ability in the ring say he can reach that level. That's kind of in line with what I'm saying. It's just like I don't think he's been fully defined yet. I think he's been, I coined the phrase, or I don't think, but I was repeating the phrase, and I don't remember copying someone else, that he's been always a bridesmaid and never the champion. Well, now he's become the champ. He isn't just the guy who's the good challenger. He now is the champion at the peak part of WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania, going into the Rumble. And now it's a chance to show what he can do. And I'm not writing off that this won't offset some of that bridesmaid vibe that he had. Yes.
Can I say that there's one possibility? There's one possibility for me that stands out. Chris, cook with me here, okay?
I got you.
This doesn't do much for me. But I think that if they want him to be that like ultra like big bad evil heel, but they really want to also use it as the chance to, is someone going to get the gold watch world title run or not? He's the person to beat, right? Like if you want to do the Sami Zayn world title win at WrestleMania, then he's the heel to beat, right? I'm saying this because, right, like if you're going to have a world title match that's like, is it the main event? Is it not? But it's still the world title match. Drew's then, and we were talking earlier about the defining of which title is the A title and which title is the B title. Maybe then Drew does hold the B title. And again, this isn't the version of the conversation you started with, but it does change the title picture if we're talking about Sammy, we're talking about Finn, we're talking about these people that they didn't get the title, but now there seems to be a little bit more flexibility now that the title's not being held by Roman, now that it's not being held up, and these people missed their chance. It's a possibility, and if there is going to be someone for to beat, he would be the one to beat. So just something to throw out there.
Chris,
I would argue that Drew being one champion and Punk being the other makes Punk the B champion. That's just my opinion.
If you watch the match today, which I would like to talk about Raw, but nobody's apparently letting me talk about Raw, Wade.
You're such a whiner.
CM Punk barely moved. I mean, Finn Balor wrestled a broom in that match. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you totally. I mean, I was like, how anybody backstage could leave that arena and not go like, we got to change the title and put it on Finn Balor. I mean, it's like, I'm Wade. I mean, the fact that I was agreeing with Kevin Nash, I was like,
I
don't enjoy Kevin Nash.
I'm of the opinion that Punk should have never won the title. They should have put it back on Uso.
I got to tell you, you and I would like to have lunch with you, a couple drinks, Chris.
Yes,
my friend. You and I agree on a lot more than we initially thought. CM Punk.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like I can't.
I'm over it. I'm over it.
A couple comments here in the chat that I won't get to here. Mark Biscotti says if the 2020 shutdown didn't happen, Drew would be a legit WrestleMania main eventer now. That didn't happen, but it still can. Legit WrestleMania main eventer?
No, well, so when I say this, I know it sounds like I'm being wishy-washy. It's not that I think he's not a legitimate WrestleMania main event. Like, he's been in multiple WrestleMania world title matches. It's for this year. What is the biggest match for this year? He's a legitimate Hall of Famer. He's a legitimate, main eventer in WWE. It's just right now there's bigger matches for them for a legitimate WrestleMania main event. That's all I'm saying.
Did people forget that the Bloodline started during the COVID shutdown? Like the biggest storyline of the past 20 years, that Mercedes and Bayley versus Asuka and Kairi Sane was a thing that was going on during the shutdown. That AEW was still running and making people feel big during the shutdown. I'm so tired of the excuse that Drew had the title during COVID. Everybody had to wrestle during COVID. Get over it already.
So two things about that. One, I think Drew has been saying that as a heel to get you worked up, Chris, and other people. So he is meant to he's meant to seem like he's whining. But in a meta real life sense, I think the idea was if Drew had a crowd as a babyface, he peaked at that. There was a kind of a peak. This is his time moment. And without crowds to validate it, it's a been there, done that. Like, okay, he did it. He won. He had his big moment. Now we got to do something new because we've been there and we've done it. So I think Drew's argument is the foundation is I wanted to have my run as a top babyface like everybody else had, a chance to have my top babyface WrestleMania main eventer stage of my career validated with the crowd responses. And instead, COVID winds down, crowds come back, and now we're on to the next thing. So I think that's the argument, is just like, I didn't have that validation that I would have had otherwise, and that drove his bitterness, which drove his heel character.
But we're not reheating the souffle, guys. Like, we're not getting 2020 back. We're talking about this because we have 2 nights of WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, if we didn't have a second night of WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre would be in the Chris Jericho spot. I'm going to keep saying it. Chris Jericho had multiple world title matches versus Edge, CM Punk, all that stuff. But they were mid-card. That's where Drew would be if we had one night of WrestleMania. That's what we're arguing about here, even if he has the title.
I'd argue, though, that Jericho during his time, there were bigger stars than he is.
There's bigger stars than Drew, Chris.
Name them.
Are we going to really do it? Okay. We got, I don't want to say it, but Punk is, Cody is, Roman is. Maybe. Oh, Chris, talk to the wall. I mean, please.
Punk is not
a bigger star than Drew McIntyre.
Yes, he is.
He's not. Punk is.
Roman
is, but he's part-time. Cody is, but Cody's kind of hot and cold with the crowd right now. And we've seen this guy in the main event every year that he's been back, but besides the Seth Rollins match. Like, we need something else. It's time for Cody to step aside and somebody else get in the main event. And I don't think there's anybody else more deserving or bigger than Drew that's not in the women's division.
It's not about value. It's about star power. Okay, I'm good. Wade,
don't pull your hair out, Nick. That was expensive.
Yeah, really. What are you doing? I thought we were friends. What's happening?
No, we are. You know what? Can I tell you guys? So you don't know this. So, by the way, my dog is over here. I don't know if you can see her. I live on the second floor of an apartment complex, right above the office. It gets so hot, but because Wade yells at me that it's too loud in my apartment, I turn off all the ventilation. I'm like dying over here because I don't want the technology to fall. Everything
Wade is kind of a bully. I've got him versus Derek Mitchell booked on the pre-show at WrestleMania. So,
yes. Derek says that friendship ended quickly. Speaking of you guys,
we're like Sting and Ric Flair.
Standard Deviation said, I stopped watching Raw early because I saw Nick Barbati was doing the post show, and I made the right choice. There we go.
I don't know what that means. What does that even mean?
He wanted to watch you live. He couldn't wait. He started late.
Oh, I thought that was an insult. I was about to insult him. I didn't know who that was.
Kavanti Smile says, I love Wade's monologues and rants even more. Darrell Freeman says Drew is one successful movie role away from being a part-timer like Roman, then being a WrestleMania main eventer. Darrell adds, to me, 98% of the time, most of the people who main event WrestleMania have a crossover appeal, and I think that's a real key. If you don't have crossover appeal, it'd be hard for you to be a WrestleMania main eventer.
So wait, do the other co-hosts on the post show fight with people like I do?
All the time. No, I mean, some do, some don't.
I was gonna say that's a compliment, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay. Another comment here, Darrell. Drew's problem is he has respect to the wrestling fans, but he doesn't appeal to people who are casual or WrestleMania only fans. Drew doesn't have the crossover feel you need to boost. Do you agree with that, Nick? That the thing that Drew
what was it?
Is the thing that Drew is missing is feeling like a crossover special attraction, rather like is he? There was an analogy that this won't resonate with you, Nick, but he's Derek Mitchell said Drew's like Tim Duncan. He has all the tools, but no one will want to see the Spurs in the finals unless you're a Spurs fan. Is there something missing that makes people not feel there's enough pizzazz with him in that spot?
I don't know. I think it's I think he's been too. Listen, I think it was the wave of time after that. In that, like the 2021, 2022, I want to take the COVID piece out of it. I agree with you. I think that's too much of a crutch to lean on. There was an identity searching phase, though, for him that he went through that I think we all watched. And I think you can get through that and think that he ended up in a much better place. And I think we all agree with it. But it's still like it's like if someone's been in a company since they've been a kid. Sometimes it's hard to fully shake that earlier view that you have of them when now they're management. So I don't know, that's just the first instinct that comes to mind for me. It just doesn't feel fresh enough for me for right now.
Quick, I've said this before, but it's been a while since I said it. I think that Cody picked up where Drew left off, but he had a fresher, better story.
Yeah,
I mean, Drew went to TNA and became Drew Galloway and was the babyface. Raw fans, I respect this business. I love this business. I stand for something. I love this world title. He was Cody before Cody, and then Cody came in. It was a fresher story. Obviously, coming fresh out of AEW, you had to go with him, and he caught fire and he earned that spot. So Drew was a notch below Cody, and the timing was off. Drew also, as a heel, is kind of like Roman, size-wise, the gravitas of just that intimidating appearance. And ring style-wise, there's some similarities there, too. I'd argue he's a better promo than Roman, more versatile, can talk longer and all that than Roman ever did. But obviously, Roman was magical with Heyman, and they played off each other great. And there's multiple ways to be a star promo. But Drew wasn't quite Roman level as a heel. So he's just a notch below Cody in a Cody-like babyface role, and he's a notch below Roman in a Roman-like heel role. That's been the struggle for him. If Roman and Cody aren't around, maybe someone else would have leapfrogged Drew with an opportunity, or maybe Drew would not be looked at as not a poor man's Cody, but you came before Cody, but we're into Cody now. And, Roman's a shiny new toy. We're going with him as a heel instead of you. So I think that's been the issue with him is how does he stand on top of either the heel or babyface roster to be the guy? And that goes back to the original thing I said about this 40 minutes ago, give or take. It does seem like there's something with Drew that just isn't quite there, where there's sort of this, not unanimity, but this movement to just go, now's his time. I think that's Drew's point and he turns into a heel mantra, Chris. But I think he felt his time was during COVID. I think that's when the coast was cleared. That was going to be his time. And he didn't have the validation of the crowd and that energy. And then the time passed and Cody came along.
I have a couple other things I want to get to, but I'll say what you just said didn't remind me, but made me think maybe Drew's going to get an extra opportunity because Triple H kind of sympathizes with him of always being not quite the guy, but if these guys weren't here, I'd be the man. Like if The Rock or Stone Cold or Kurt Angle or The Undertaker weren't here, I'd be the guy. And he can kind of see that with Drew as far as Roman and Cody go. One of the things I want to talk about, Jey Uso came out tonight, cut a promo about him entering the Royal Rumble. We're clearly past his singles run. I have a list of people that I would love to see the Usos against at WrestleMania. And the top three are the Hardys, just for nostalgia, God, because I've always wanted that, Or if they were to put the Lucha Bros together, I think that would be a phenomenal WrestleMania tag team title match.
I think it's going to be Logan Paul and Austin Theory, personally.
Oh, well, the hell with what I just said then.
What do you think of it, Chris?
I think it would be good, but I just think at WrestleMania to have a tag team versus another actual tag team, and then with the Usos with the claim that, you know, they're the greatest tag team of all time because of their long historic reign, they finally got back together, to put them versus the Hardys with the TNA tie-in that they have, I think would be great. Us people that have watched New Japan and WWE for years have always wanted the dream match of the Usos versus GOD. I think.
Well, I would like that personally.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good. Now, is that mainstream WrestleMania? Maybe not, but it'd be on the undercard. So does it really matter? Or the Lucha Brothers versus the Usos would be phenomenal also.
Well, attached to that, I mean, I never really get a chance to talk about SmackDown very much because, well, for other reasons. But Tama Tonga seems like they're kind of separating him out. That reeks very much to me of like they're going to send him a bit solo, and I don't know if they're going to keep those other guys around for all that much longer. But he seems to be the one that they're really getting behind. Hopefully, there's a new life in him. He's the star of all of them, quite frankly. I think
he's really good.
I think the key line to the Jay segment wasn't anything Jay said. It was, as soon as it was over, Michael Cole said, "I thought Jay was going to consult Jimmy on these things." And Graves going, "Well, how do you know he didn't?"
What was that about, by the way? Yeah, like what are you talking about? I'm coming out cutting the promo, and I have to. Not you. I'm saying Michael Cole. Like,
no, but I don't. I think Cole. That was a talking point for Cole.
Of course, it was
based on the Booker. You know, Bookers want him. Levesque wants him to say that. So I don't think that was Cole going into business for himself. I think that's a story beat that's planting a seed for something. So before we get ahead of ourselves and think Jimmy and Jay will be teaming at Mania, and they might, there's that line that suggests the story here is.
I don't think the Usos are together for long. I really don't.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Wade.
I say I don't have to consult with anybody. They can't cross the border because they keep getting DUIs.
Yikes. The heel Jey Uso character is just so right around the corner. It really is. It's just one dip and eat sails away.
I've given up on it though.
Don't give up. They're riding the sails. They're riding the sails. I've been wanting it for
months, and they keep towing the line, and then they pull it back. And
But Chris, I think. Can I tell you what I think it is? I think they want you to not want it. Like I don't think they want him to be a cool heel. I think they want him to be a heel.
Well, I just happened to stumble upon some YouTube stuff this weekend of like old school Bloodline. And it was like heel Jey Uso, and he was like vicious. And I think Corey Graves at one point was like, he's like an assassin, like he's going for the kill shot. And I don't even know that guy anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Does he
I don't think he does either. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Have we been on too long of a journey to go back to that and have it feel authentic and not cosplay or try hard?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. Yeah. Cool, Chris.
The other thing I had to talk about, Maxine versus Becky tonight. I may be in the minority in this, but I like Maxine Dupree. I think she's everything they want Blake Monroe to be when it comes to in-ring and personality and stuff like that. Like I think she's a really good babyface. Her little kip up that she does, the tearing down the straps, like I don't know. Something about her clicks right now.
What have you thought, Nick, of this? Even leading into tonight, we can talk about Natalya, but even before that.
Well, I mean, we've talked about her before a couple weeks ago. She's extremely rootable, root-forable. I think she, well, there's a lot to like. I mean, she is charming, both in ring. She's got a lot of like, she's got like the green qualities to her, but like she surprises you at moments, and like you can tell she is working at it, and you want to like that. You want to cheer her on, and I think
we have to pause to let Todd put whatever he threw against the wall back together again. Todd Martin, his hatred for Maxine Dupree. I want to pause for a moment where he gathers himself so we can hear the rest of what you're saying. Nick.
Well, I don't acknowledge people that when I DM them, I get a message back that says you can't message this person because they don't follow you back. Like how pretentious do you have to be? I mean, seriously.
Well, that's a setting on social media. I mean,
it's a setting that you think you're too good for your co-host. So so what I think about that is I think that in light like that she's endearing. She really, really is. So I mean, for me, I thought there was a lot of physical charisma to her. However, I mean, I'm not exactly like drawn to her personally. And there was just a lot of, I mean, I'm saying like it reaches a certain threshold to me where I'm like, okay, like it's enough. I hope that this opens the door to the Natty Neidhart character that everyone has been raving about. That and I think it's possible. I actually do think it's possible. And here's the thing: I think it's good that there's layers in the women's division. That there's the world title match, world title picture, the Intercontinental picture, and then maybe another storyline underneath. I think that's healthy from a storytelling perspective. That's not all just title related. I think that could be good to, again, further bring Maxine now out of a title picture. I think she was damaging long-term to the Intercontinental title if she was still going to be in there because it was unrealistic. And Becky, I'm just over Becky personally.
Chris?
I don't have time to argue with you about Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I could tell. That was a showstopper.
I'm just a Charlotte guy,
Oh, no. What are we doing here? Yeah, I don't know. Something tonight clicked with Maxine, and I just see her as a really good baby fit. Like you said, you can cheer for her. She's got a good look. If she just improves by like 5% in the ring, which she already has, she's gotten way better than she was like 6 months ago.
That is true.
I think she could be a big star.
I think there are things that she is still awful at that matter less than people want it to, who are her critics, because there are traits she has that you, Chris, and Nick are bringing up that might matter more in the way that WWE presents and frames its product and the way that fans generally receive the product. That said, if you watch her closely, you can argue she still should be in NXT, refining her work. Totally. Rather than being portrayed as somebody who, through a few weeks of intense sweat and heart and training with Natalya, is suddenly someone we should like legitimately take seriously, or should be taking herself as seriously as she is. I think the sharp turn from her from being I think I can to I am all that is I think it's understandably getting some pushback from some people. And I think there's a little bit of a lack of a chapter in the transition for her. I think with the training, she shouldn't have come in acting like, well, Natalya did wonders for me. Now I'm going to take on the world. I think having her be a little true to her former self and would have been a better way to tell the journey. And I think there would have been less of a pushback on it if they just owned a little bit more. You can't magically become as good as she thinks she portrays herself now as thinking she is. And I think that has been off-putting for her, but I also don't think she's been a failure at portraying herself as somebody who has, with some training, become kind of resourceful in the ring. And I am curious to go to tonight's angle. What is Natalya's reason going to be for, turning on her? Natalya should be proud of her students doing well, and now she cost her a match. What story are they telling here, do you think?
I think just a resentment over that she's, thinks who she is. It's a Jersey term, that she had expanded way beyond what her skill set actually was. About Maxine Dupree, I agree with you, Wade, that she probably should still be in NXT, all that stuff. But here's what I'll also say is there's just been in the past year, maybe even a little bit more, a lot of women that have been introduced to the main roster. And honestly, a lot of times I can't even keep all the names right. And it's not because I'm not a champion of women's wrestling, because I am. She stands out. She's got more of the star power. She's got more of the ability to connect to the fans. That is not something that you should just, or let me say this. I can understand the push and pull of saying you just don't throw that back down at NXT. She is more advanced than Sable would have been back at WrestleMania 14, and you had her at WrestleMania. I understand why you'd want to keep that on TV.
Chris.
I think what Wade brought up earlier about the whole thing with Natty, maybe if they had built the Natty character up, this new, what is she calling herself? The under whatever legend or whatever. If they would have built this character up before she trained Maxine, and you see Maxine training with her, as opposed to Natalia, who we've watched get her ass kicked for the better part of like 10, 15 years now, it would make more sense that Maxine trained with her for a couple weeks and now she's like got this new badass attitude. But instead, you're using a character that was used with Josh Barnett's Bloodsport as opposed to what's on WWE TV and expecting everybody else to know about it already. And that's who's training her.
I think the Natalia story should kick in next week and they shouldn't assume knowledge. Chris.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just about Maxine and telling her story and why Natalia turned on her. Give us more than Natalia trained her. Because basically all we know in canon of WWE is Natalia, veteran, highly respected, in-ring worker, helped Charlotte along, helped so many others, helped Ronda Rousey come along. Now she's trying to coach Maxine Dupree. We don't know about how Natalia being any different than she ever was in canon of WWE. WWE doesn't want to fall to the mistake that other bookers and promoters and wrestlers do, which is because they're on social media and their algorithm serves them a certain world specified and curated for them, that it's reflective of a larger, of a massive audience out there watching the TV show. So yeah, they got to tell the Natalia story. We need to know what's going on with her. And I'm fine if they start that next week. I'm not being critical about it this week. I'm just waving yellow caution flag. I don't think they should assume people know there's this new Natalia character that people are excited about online, and we're just going to put her on TV in the middle of doing it and not explain it. So hopefully they do, and we'll see. But I don't know what Maxine did wrong that Natalia would not have, in our mind as a coach, have wished for her. I'm coaching you. I want you to be successful. You've gone out and made me proud. I mean, like so is losing to Becky, like, is that what? Oh, is that going to be the thing she hangs, that she just goes, well, you didn't win all your matches, so now I'm turning on you. I mean, I hope there's something there that makes sense.
Jealousy.
But coaches aren't jealous of students. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, like coaches should be. If you're going to coach students, I don't think it's a believable storyline that you're angry that they succeeded at executing what you taught them to do.
I think that's true, Wade.
I think she's jealous that she succeeded at something that Natty couldn't do, which is beat Becky Lynch in a title match.
Okay, tell that story. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys. I got to get out of here. It's getting late early.
Oh, sorry, Chris. We didn't mean to hold you up.
Nick just keeps rambling about wanting to hang out.
Yeah,
with me
sorry.
And stuff. It's getting weird.
Sure.
Let me bow.
Oh, you know what, Chris? Don't call back.
No, wait a second. I feel like I think we're 15 seconds too late for this question. But Chris, are your DMs open or not?
Oh, please, you're crazy.
Not for Nick, no.
Thanks, guys.
I felt like you guys were going to be friends and do a podcast together.
I want nothing
and now
to do
I feel
with
like
none
you're never
of
going to
you.
talk to each other again.
None of you.
Come on, Nick. We'll talk later. We'll talk.
All right, see you, Chris. Nice knowing you.
You guys have
at Nicholas Barbati.
Oh, look at that.
No, we'll be friends. All right, see you, Chris.
Have a good night, guys.
I love the back and forth. It's like Nick won't be friends with Chris. Well, Chris doesn't want to be friends with you, and I'll be friends with you. Chris will be like, I'll be friends with you. Well, no, I don't want to be friends with you. It's like
Wait, this is how I go about all relationships.
I'm starting to figure that out.
As you know, I disappeared from your life for a year and a half, and I came back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fully recharged, ready to go.
Derek, I keep getting these messages from people. Nick, you sound so like refreshed. Yeah.
Derek Mitchell says it should be more than jealousy, which is a trope with women storylines.
Well, I don't think it's a women's storyline. You know, actually, Derek, I was listening to oh gosh, it was on Twitter. Steve Harvey did was doing an interview, and he was talking about the relationship between parents and their kids, and they said that's the only relationship in life where that person will want for you to have a better life than them, and that no matter what, who comes along, no matter, and in this case, a coach, don't ever believe that they want for you to succeed more than them. And I believe that. I think that actually plays to the storyline. I think
that is overly cynical and sad and untrue.
So I don't, and you're not from New Jersey.
Yeah, maybe it's
you're not from the Northeast.
I think that there are school teachers who love teaching writing who would love for their students to become successful writers.
That's not what I said. More successful than them.
Yeah. Like, no, I mean that. Let's say there's a creative writing teacher in high school or college, and they wrote novels and they didn't get published, and they teach writing, and 2 of their students get published, and they're famous, and they're at an award ceremony for Book of the Year, and they go, I want to give a shout out to my teacher. I think teacher would be proud, not bitter, and go kneecap him.
I don't believe that. I don't believe I started a website about pro wrestling, and like it surpassed you, that you would just be totally happy. I don't believe
I'd be happy with anyone but you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I can name some names.
All right. Derek Mitchell in a super chat. Thank you, Derek. Says the problem with the women's division is having 7 former world champions in the tag division with only a few contenders for the US, IC, and world titles.
I agree, Derek. It feels like they're taking turns about which title they care about at which moment. Suddenly they feel like they care about the tag division when it should be part of a larger portrait of intentionality.
I am an advocate for people when they're not in the world title scene, if they're a top tier star, and WWE has a montage of women who are top stars. I think it's good for them to team up and go after tag titles for a little while. When they come back to the singles scene, it seems fresh. And I think Becky has taken one route, which is go from world title to secondary title. And now she's going to be in grudge feud with AJ Lee, probably at WrestleMania. And then you have, it is.
I can't.
Well, why not?
Why not? I've been consistent. That match was not going to be good at WrestlePalooza. It was not. That match was not going to be good at War Games Survivor Series. It was not any element involving AJ Lee. It's not going to be good. It's going to be overly long, overly cooked. It's going to be a dumbing down of Becky Lynch. It's a waste. It's a waste of a spot. Sorry, AJ Lee doesn't deserve to be in there. I stand by it. Bring the hate.
Fair enough. To be clear, I'm just stating what I think is.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the chat.
Chance to happen. Yeah. Where were we on? It was Derek's super chat. Yeah. So, is it a problem to have 7 former? First of all, there's a lot of former world champions who aren't top stars. World title runs are given out to too many people. But that said, I'm fine with people stepping away from singles wrestling to do tag team wrestling. I mean,
I think what I'm saying is, I think what I was trying to say with Derek is they're all pumped into the tag division, where I think that there should just be intentionality of like, okay, if we're going to move like Asuka over into the tag division for right now, let's not necessarily put Liv in there at this particular moment. And I just feel like everyone seems to be suddenly thrown into the tag division right now, which I feel like is what Derek is kind of insinuating.
Yep.
There's just not a whole lot of intentionality at all in terms of the spreading out of the wealth here, which I think is a goal they should be setting for themselves.
I don't know this to be true, but there is something about the women's division is smaller than the men's. There's less depth, less quantity, and it can get a little incestuous. Same people facing each other constantly.
Sure.
And so I think the idea was let's move some people out of the top singles tier and let's elevate some new people. I think they thought Tiffany would be somebody. They thought Jade would be somebody. Jade has been. Tiffany was a little bit rockier and injuries and stuff. But I think their thinking is let's take some top stars out, create breathing room for new people. And now when they leave the tag division, we'll have fresh matchups. I think that's what the strategy is.
Yeah.
And by the way, we were talking about, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. So we had Dupree and Becky. So A.T. Lucifer at Lucifer. I'm not sure where it's these handles, I tell you. Becky is great. She had me believing that she was about to get pinned after a finishing kick that missed her by a foot. No pun intended. I wish there was a system set up for wrestlers to get a signal when a move misses so badly that you shouldn't see it. Well, let me finish this out. Like, I think there should be a word, like if a quarterback in an NFL team, they have a word they shout out when they see the defense and like the play we called isn't going to work. There's a better play. They yell something. The whole team knows now we're going to this instead. I think someone on headsets in the back should see a move miss badly enough. They should instantly tell the referee, just shout this key word or, say the key word to the wrestler. So the wrestler knows it missed badly enough. You shouldn't sell it. And in this case, because it missed so badly, and the wrestler doesn't know how bad it looks because no moves actually hit him. They don't really know. Right. Becky can't tell. But then she knows. So Becky could act like she ducked the kick, get up, get in Dupree's face, laugh at her for missing, and then Dupree can just try again and knock her down. It's sort of the next stage. If we're going to show off, as they did on WWE Unreal, what stars of the all the real stars of the show are the ones behind the scenes who have all the camera angles and all the scripting of everything to make sure everything works. Like, take it to the next level, people in Gorilla. Let's find a way to not have these botched moves be something we have to talk about on post shows. Have it be worked in. Sometimes people are going to miss moves. Sometimes people miss tackles in the NFL. It's not a big deal. You don't have to run from it or be shameful. The part you have to run from is when someone sells it and they shouldn't, and the technology is there to stop it.
Right. And so I was trying to play it back in my head. But didn't Becky hit the exposed turnbuckle first before the kick?
I didn't, or did she stop herself right beforehand, or was that?
I think she hit it, which I think kind of made it a little bit more believable, and it allowed my brain to turn off. Yeah, I'm with you, Wade.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Just it's literally just a suggestion. Like, I don't.
I got you. No, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Because you can make that.
It was
make
brutal.
That work.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at my report. She leaped at Dupree, but Dupree moved out of the way. Becky hit the exposed turnbuckle. I'm reading from my report. She threw a spinning wheel kick, which grazed the top of Becky's head. Becky went down. Dupree made the cover.
See, it was something like the turnbuckle was, to me, enough. I mean, but I get it.
Yeah. Oh, and Graves could have said, that barely grazed Becky, but I think she's still stung from hitting the turnbuckle. You do a cover story.
There was a cover up. Yep.
But honestly, I think the ref should get a signal, because this is me saying wrestlers don't know when it misses badly. There should be a way to let them know and call an audible.
Yep.
All right. Finn Balor had a shot at the world title tonight, Nick, and you have.
I'm done talking. I'm done talking. I am have to pee. My food has been here for a half hour.
Oh no!
The dog came to lick my leg to let me know she's got to pee.
We will wrap up very quickly.
No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
No.
By the way, about none of those things, but I'm very.
I'm sad because I really wanted your food to be cold.
It is. I know it's there. I'm saying it's literally all those things are true, but this was a coming out party for Finn Balor. I need to say this. I'm going to get this all out. Finn Balor carried that main event in a big, big way. Now, I am not a wrestler. I don't pretend to be a wrestler. I don't pretend to overstate things that I don't know about. However, it was extremely clear that he was creating a ton of movement in front of my eyes. Mm-hmm. I couldn't unsee it. Once it was very presented to me, It was like, wow. I also felt like there was I'm also I look way too into things, and I understand that, but I felt like there was a lot being seen in the eyes, and I felt like he kind of was he was excellent in his performance, but I also felt like there was, by the end, some very clear recognition from Mr. Punk that I was kind of outclassed tonight, and that seemed to be really well recognized at the end. Your time, you deserve more than I'm getting in this moment. And I really do think there's going to be a lot of advocacy going backstage for for Finn Balor to be getting much more of a movement coming out of this show. I think his backstage segment was more than serviceable. I thought he was very charming when he came out and he said, "I can't hear my music to even know when to do the flash of his arms." But the ring work and I was quick Googling ages and think this is a 44-year-old man doing, this snaps that he had was really spectacular. But I truly believe when I left that show today, I thought just the way the camera was following him back, I thought, his time might be now. And it wouldn't surprise me coming out that there's conversations going that this is his time.
Is the Judgment Day just churning out one unlikely main event act after another? Not top guy for 3 years at a time, but do you come out like Dom, Priest, Rhea? Yeah,
I mean, it's possible. I think that what's different about him is like, okay, he hasn't been seen or presented as a main eventer.
You're reading Derek Mitchell's.
Derek Mitchell's comment. But I think this felt different because I don't think this was intentional. I think this was a leveraging of the location that they were going to be in Ireland. But that doesn't mean that something didn't hit. Yeah, and so if you put Finn Balor in front of a U.S. crowd or anything, obviously you're not getting the same reaction, but it doesn't change the quality of the performance and the inherent, I would say, guilt that you're going to get in terms of that he's operating at a different, very, very different level than the opponent that he was with today. But I just think in general, something seemed to connect. Suddenly, it felt like 2018 again. Suddenly, it felt like there was a whole lot of, oh, I forgot how much I liked this guy, or how much that there was a possibility in this guy. I don't know, Wade. I don't. Did you feel that there was like a sense of possibility coming out of the show for him?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not overstating it. I'm not overstating it, but I also felt like I think that there's a real chance of,
I've thought for a while it's I don't know if unfortunate's the right word, awkward that Dom is so like, he's been this like breakout star and he's young and there's so much he's doing that they can, market and I mean, he can be beyond what people imagined he could be just a few years ago. But at the same time, Finn Balor, I'm not being facetious or cute or over, or when I say like the Judgment Day is kind of churning up, there's something about that clubhouse,
right,
with people bouncing off each other and getting some time to just like feel their way through that faction and the dynamic where you get to know somebody and you can't help but either see their authentic selves or have them kind of find a groove as a character that pulls something that feels authentic, because those segments, well scripted and blocked out, also have an aura of conversation and casualness that you don't see elsewhere on the show.
It's also the dynamic between the males and females. It's an organic connection that doesn't exist anywhere else.
And it's a deep enough roster that it isn't like the vision is like alpha males. Everybody there wants to be an alpha male. This is JD McDonough is not an alpha male. He just goof want to play video games. Carlito is like some novelty sidekick. Dom was sort of started off that way. So it can be a whole other discussion. You can do a whole thing on the Judgment Day and all that. But there is something, like you said, about the male-female dynamic, but also the fact that they're playing, and it worked with the Bloodline too, where you have different people at different tiers of expectations for themselves and different personalities, and they kind of find a rapport. And that's what I've been calling for in AEW out of the Don Callis family, that to me, that the key for a faction succeeding is not just who's in it or who the spokesman is or how well scripted it is. It's do people see the dynamic between each of the people in it? Like, oh, wait till, I want to see how Solo responds to what Jay said, but that feels different than how he responds to what Jimmy said or what Roman said. And right. So, I'll throw up a comment here. Paul Rang, LYNC. Oh, Paul Rangel, New York City. There you are. Says the opinion, Nick, it's half the fun of the show is trying to figure out where the one word ends and the next begins in these handles. The opinion Nick has of Balor right now, I had the same opinion after his SummerSlam match with Rollins in 2023.
Yeah, listen, he has flashes, right, of like where you want it from. The WrestleMania match going into it with Edge that then didn't turn out to be, obviously something worth being excited about. This one felt different to me. This one felt like there was, listen, time's running out. And listen, and I don't mean
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I think there was guilt in those eyes. I have nothing. There's probably better words to find it, but CM Punk, I think, probably was the one who called for maybe the match to happen, because I do think he was probably on like a bucket list. It was clear who was doing the work in that match. It was clear who has had opportunities. It was clear
Punk is slowing down.
No. I get that. But what I'm saying is, but it's also clear if you're then Punk, that is like saying, like, I want to wrestle this guy. But then you also think, well, I've had a lot more opportunities lately than this guy. And this is the guy who I wanted to wrestle him. And how do I feel? So how can I go and look at myself in the mirror when I see how hard this guy's working. I'm just curious about if something comes of it. If anything was to come out of any of these matches, tonight would have been the one for it to come out of.
What do you think? If you're Finn Balor, what is the best case scenario for him to or if you're Paul Levesque, how do you best utilize him if you think there's something there?
I think you have him win the Royal Rumble. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, I know it sounds absurd, but I think that do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. Like, I'm not stupid enough to think that that's going to happen. But I think if you really want to throw a shock to the system, you do something like that. I don't think that does happen. But I think with Finn, I struggle to trust that he could tell the effective personality part of a real storytelling, element. But what is the answer? To substitute him in and have him jump ship over to the Vision or something like that? Substitute him in for Seth Rollins or whatnot? I don't know. I don't see how he fits into a major program. I'm having a tough time finding it.
I think they wanted Punk to show he's a fighting champion, be against an opponent who could create a lot of movement. They could have a good TV match. They are always on the hunt for good main event matches. I mean, they don't want the same people wrestling every week,
right?
Because they know they're stuck with the same people wrestling in the main event 4 out of 6 weeks. They're just desperately looking for 2 weeks to break things up a little bit sometimes. And so they're in Northern Ireland. They figured, well, this is a good time to do it. They're tripping over themselves trying to understand the difference between Ireland and Northern Ireland. And am I in my hometown? Is it one island or all that? And there's people in the chat who are upset with, Balor is trying to not make it seem like it wasn't his hometown, but it is his people and all of that. But they knew they were in a region where they could capitalize on this main event and feature it. And I think it's not part of some broader. I don't think they planned the Ireland trip so that Finn Balor could show who he is. Like, I think
Absolutely.
It's more happenstance for him. So it may not go anywhere from here for him, and that's fine if he breaks away from Judgment Day as a babyface at some point. This was a good moment for him. He had a crowd behind him. Punk showed respect for him. And they had a good match. So, yeah. What is just real quick? Is CM Punk like? Do you think he's almost done, like, being able to carry himself? Because what have you thought of his promos? Like tonight, I thought he had good sports, like just basic promo. Hey, I'm visiting. Fine. I'm on visiting turf. I'm the best in the world. I'm going to go show it. Just very matter of fact, not bombastic. Sure. I think that's good sometimes.
Yeah, I think the promo is good. I thought his entrance was good when he came out and made a comment like, I thought I was going to be booed or something like that. Like there's a like the grizzled veteran charm to him. I kind of think he needs to just start getting repositioned as the Terry Funk type, like just he's going to be in the shape of what he's going to be in, the brawler type. It's just not working for me anymore. And that's not to say he's bad. I think there's bursts that are very, very good, but to think that you're always going to get, the great wrestler Punk, I mean, which has always been kind of like iffy to me. It's not there. And I think his shape, the in-ring shape is just not at the world title level. I just think the last few outings have been really brutal, especially since he's the match where he won the title and everything subsequent to that since then has just been very bad. Very bad.
What do you make of Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman?
I don't know. I don't know who he talked to on the phone. Nothing. I was actually going through the possibilities, and I didn't like any of them. I think Adam Pearce as a character should have the moral compass that even if it was his superior, he would not be grinning and bearing it. He would be going along with what he's told, but not being happy about it. I don't know who it was. I like Adam Pearce, though. I thought he was great last week. Excellent last week. Yep. This week, I didn't feel the same way.
Why not? Just
because I didn't like where the story was going. It had nothing to do with his performance.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm happy to be here. Can you tell?
How did Austin Theory look to you?
Pointless. He should have never joined. I mean, seriously, I don't think that they've done anything with him. I have no hope that anything good's going to come of it, other than he's going to be in the tag team. I think that's going to be the move. Is he's going to be in a tag team at against the Usos at some point. They're going to get the tag team titles. I don't think they've stripped away any personality that he's had. His confidence is gone. The 3 luchadors looked great. I think Penta is a real star. But I actually think that there needs to be an autopsy on what was done to Austin Theory's confidence. And I think it's not right. And I think a lot of people have a lot to answer to for it. I think it's wrong. And I think course correction should be taken because he's still young, but let's get off the train of he looks the part, but everything else about him sucks. I mean, he's got a great body and he can wrestle, but it's just that personality. I mean, that's the reason why a lot of people suffer from depression is when you talk about people like that. Like I mean, seriously, like it's wrong but what they did, the fact that he took the pin this week when 2 months ago he was the masked man wreaking havoc on the show. I mean, come on, what do we do?
What about the thing with Rhea and Io and also the Asuka Kairi acting in the backstage segment? I think that's worth talking about those two things. Sadler Version 3, by the way, says, what about the opening promo? Io was brutal in that with her acting. It felt like I was watching a Disney Channel sitcom, shaking my head. That's been going on a lot. I mean, in terms of the criticism. But then you had Kairi just distraught and Asuka playing into her, and it feels like it's a different genre of a presentation of pro wrestling, the way the acting is done. Some defend it, others cringe. I don't know how intentional it is. Help
me a little bit more with so let me tell you, so I cringe at Io Sky because I feel like Io Sky has so much more to give, and I hate her being the best friend of Rhea Ripley. I hate that whole presentation. I don't think that's necessary. She should be as an equal. And I just like her cuddling up to Rhea when she heard that Rhea turns on everybody she's ever been with. I thought that was so stupid. I didn't like that at all. Io should be smarter. She is smarter. The character's always been smarter. Like, why are we doing that? Kairi, though, I had 2 aunts. Okay, and I'm going to word it this way. Wait, I need you to look at me when I say this. I had an Aunt Kay and an Aunt Vi. Okay, Aunt Vi was the toughest.
Is it K-A-Y or just K?
Well, she was Aunt Catherine with a K, so she was K-A-Y.
Okay, good.
And Aunt Vi was for Viola. And Viola was the nastiest, bull you'd ever find. Uh-huh. And Aunt Kay would fall in line to her, and she would like wince to her. But she loved Vi, and she would always do everything that she said. And when Vi died, she didn't know how to be without her. That's how I imagine them to be. I'm familiar with this dynamic. I know that sounds crazy. It doesn't stick out to me as odd. It's an Italian dynamic, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, fun story. I think you're on. I think you're fine. I think people's issue is if the
stereotyping and all that kind of stuff.
It feels corny, It just, dial it down. Are they trying to make up for the English not being
right,
their primary language, and making up for it by having them just, Jimmy Hart-esque turn it up to 14. Yeah. Oh, there we are.
Here, she wants to see you, Wade.
Hey, what's her name? Again?
Lakota.
I can't remember your dog's name right now. If you gave me a multiple choice, I would have known. Hi, Lakota. Lakota, shake.
She can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
She did shake.
Oh, wow.
She's smart.
Good ears. She can hear. That was awesome. She can hear through the headset. Cool. All right. I'm good. If you are, go eat your cold DoorDash.
That's it. Thanks for having me, everybody. This is the respect I get on this show. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Wade.
Go VIP to hear Nikki's Club. PWTorch.com/go VIP.
Wait, is my show a VIP exclusive?
Most weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's on the feed. Very good. All right. So flagship tomorrow with Jason Powell. So join us for that. No, we won't be live, but just search Wade Keller.
I have a request. I've never spoken to Jason Powell, and I've always wanted to. I need you to put me on a show with Jason Powell one time.
All right, we'll try to figure that out.
It out. Yeah. And I want folks that are here, like I saw earlier, someone said Nick knows ball. Nick knows ball. And I think I saw Derek and some of the others wanted to be on Nikki's Club. Email me, nicholas.barbati@gmail.com. Let's do this thing.
Are your DMs open?
Yes. Nicholas. I'm trying to think. At Nicholas Barbati on Twitter or X. And I use it, but but email's better. Nicholas.barbati@gmail.
Makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Chris Rucker, maybe.
Yeah, he's a chirper.
Very good. All right. I'll get a 7-day free trial and unlock VIP podcasts. Patreon.com/PWTorchVIP. If you are in the Patreon ecosystem, that's a really easy way to check us out for 7 days. Patreon.com/PWTorchVIP. Or full details on all the ways to sign up, including unlocking nearly 4 decades of archives. PWTorch.com/GoVIP. Big thanks to Nick Barbati. You got something else you want to say, Nick?
Wait,
You're itching.
This gentleman has been asking who's going to win the Royal Rumble. And before I leave, I'm just going to throw my predictions out.
Yes.
And I'm going to leave with this. It's going to be Roman and Bianca. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Nick. Always fun. Have a good week. Have a safe week, everybody. And appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.